All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tax Thursday brought to you by Smart Counsel. I am your host, DDQ, here with Smart Counsel's tax resident attorney, Dion Kellier. Happy Tax
Happy Tax
Thursday.
Thursday. How are you?
I am doing well. How
I
are
am
you?
doing well. Doing well.
Yeah, another Thursday. Here we go.
Right?
If you are new here, Smart Counsel is a woman owned, minority owned boutique law firm. Visit our website at www.smart counsel.com to learn more about our attorneys and practice areas. On today's episode, we are talking about the highest and lowest tax rates around the world. So, Dion, my first question is what or why would different countries have different tax rates? Is that because of cost of living, what it's going towards? Tell us a little bit
A little
about
bit of
that.
everything, right? So every country has its own autonomy to kind of figure out how it wants to run. And we know that taxes pay for infrastructure and the things like no they're not gonna the government of any country cannot rely on the people to be like, oh, let me voluntarily help keep these roads up, right? So that is
Mm.
achieved through taxes. So there's usually one of four types of tax systems when it comes to taxable income. So it's either zero taxation, which that is rare, if probably doesn't even exist, but pretty rare. Residential taxation, citizenship based taxation, or territorial taxation. And so taxes, they can be a financial burden, but paying taxes is important for several reasons. And they're used to fund all manner of publicly funded services, including the military, public education, infrastructure such as roads and parks, police and fire departments, public retirement and health programs such as Social Security and Medicare. And yes, Social Security may be going away, but they've been talking about that for a while. So I don't know if it is really going to go away, but whether it does or does not go away, your Social Security benefit is not, I don't feel like it's something that you could live off of anyway, so you should probably have another system in place. um, Countries that offer very low tax rates for foreign investors are called tax havens, and they generate income. They generate government revenue by attracting a generous amount of capital inflow and imposing fees, charges, and low tax rates. So while they may not have a tax rate, they have another, basically for the pleasure of having your money here, you got to pay for that. The world's top 10 tax havens are Luxembourg, Cayman Islands, Isle of Man, Jersey, Ireland, Mauritius, Bermuda, Monaco, Switzerland, and the Bahamas.
Oh,
Right? We're
nice.
gonna talk about all of that, right? So I felt like this topic was very interesting, just to kind of give us a perspective of where we are right now. Just so you know, the
Yeah.
United States. So before tax reform, and we're always going to hear this in every election cycle, so get ready to hear it. The United States does not have the highest tax regime in the world. It didn't have it before tax reform, and it's not going to have it if anything has been changed. So when you hear that argument, just know it's political, right? We are number 26 in the
Yeah.
world taxation wise, and you're going to hear some of the worst and some of the best countries. So the general rule of thumb is that with a residential tax system is the 183 days. That also applies, statewide in the United States. If you're in a state for more than 183 days, you then owe taxes to that state. Same thing with if you are in a country that taxes based on the residential system, but all countries don't do that. So in other cases, just being a resident in a certain country is enough to become subject to that country's taxes on your worldwide income. Like the United States, citizenship-based taxation is the most draconian form of all and is only used by Eritrea, the African country of Eritrea, and the United States. And citizens of those two countries will never escape the demands of their nation's taxman. And although those living outside the country have the opportunity to exclude some of their foreign income, although some of them can exclude their foreign income. And just so you know where Eritrea is located. I have to be very careful of how I say this. It's, if you see Ethiopia, then look within how Ethiopia is drawn on the map. Eritrea is there as well. There was a civil war and things between them, so it's like it's very. I don't know how to say it, right? I don't want to say Eritrea is located within Ethiopia, because the Eritrean people may believe that Ethiopia came and
Interesting. Yeah. That makes sense. I've never even heard of that country, so I'm
So
like,
I know a
Interesting.
couple of people from there, but when I was in college, I went to Howard for college. Like we had this class, and we all got an African country that we had to learn about and then teach other people about. And I got Eritrea, and I was like, I don't even know where this is. And so that happened in college, and then years later, I was working at a job with somebody that is Eritrean, and I said to them, like, "Oh, that's the country that's in Ethiopia." Woo. That turned into a
No.
very good lesson, right? To know what you're talking about before you talk about it, and to just respect people's positions. So I will never forget that. That is why I made the statement of like, this is where it is on the visual map. All right.
Right, exactly.
So okay, so back to our fortunately there are countries that administer a territorial tax system, one in which the country taxes only the income that was earned within their geographical limits. And so Singapore is a country that fits that description. It is important, it's incredibly important to be aware of the differences in these tax systems and keep tabs on which country uses which system. And once you know how each country operates, you can keep the citizenship of your country of origin, live in another country, and earn money in another country without having to pay taxes in any of them. That is called tax arbitraging, which is not illegal. So there are a lot of low tax countries with cities that rank high on the indices for quality of life and the happiness of their citizens. There's more than 160 countries outside of the Western world, and many are highly developed, like Georgia, Costa Rica, Panama, and Singapore, that have a low tax rate. The high tax countries of the West do not have a monopoly on development, quality of living, or happiness. And, they just because you are in a high tax country doesn't mean you're getting the best of everything. And when I give you what the highest, well, we'll see. When I give you what the highest tax rate in the world is, you'll be like, oh, okay, what is that? So 15 countries with the highest tax rate. Number 15 is France. I actually thought France was going to be closer to number 1, but it's number 15. It has a 45% top marginal tax rate, and whereas the U.S. on their highest tax rate is 37%, and before tax reform it was 39.6%. So France has always been higher than us, and but that's just on your personal income, right? When you have property, France has a whole nother taxing system that is different.
Wow.
So to put it in context, Monaco, a low tax country that's situated on the French Riviera, has no income taxes. So think about how that works. If you lived in France, you would definitely probably live in Monaco or make your money in Monaco and then have your other stuff in France.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Let's see. So Monaco's low tax rate, one of the reason, the French comprise of 30% of Monaco's citizenship. Number 14 is Spain. If you spend 6 months or more in Spain, they have a 47% tax rate, and they tax you on your worldwide income. Wow. The next is Ireland. But this is now your personal income, because Ireland is good for businesses. So Ireland is ranked as one of the world's wealthiest countries in the European Union. And let's see. One of the things that has contributed is their low corporate income tax rates, which is used by Google and Apple. But if you are just a regular citizen, they tax you 40.4% on your income. It's not Europe's highest tax rate, but it's pretty close. Taxable income is charged in respect of all property, profits, or gains. A person's resident and domiciled in Ireland is liable to Irish taxable income on his total income from all. So Ireland taxes you on your worldwide income. And there is little or no income tax paid by low earners, right? It only applies to the middle and the top earners. So, I mean, that sounds, I guess, good, but, until you become one of the people.
Yeah. Is it truly? It's never it's always too good to be
always
true,
too good to be.
And that's number 14, Ireland?
Ireland is number 13. Spain, 14.
Okay. Spain,
yes.
14.
12 is Portugal, and their rate 48%. They have the 46th largest economy in the world, and their top marginal tax rate of 48%. They use tax to increase equality between high income earners and low income earners. Employment income earned is subject to a progressive income tax that applies to all who are in the workforce. There's a long list of tax allowances that count as deductions, including a general deduction, health expenses, life and health insurance and education expenses. And folks who set up residence in Portugal via the Golden Visa program or other residence options, it's a way to sidestep the taxes. And a golden visa is basically you get a residence by investment.
Isn't Portugal also the country that doesn't tax for crypto?
I want to
Is
say it
it
was
that?
on one. It was on one of our lists. There
Yeah,
was a lot of
interesting.
South and Central American countries that did not tax. I want to say it was like Guatemala. One of yeah,
Yeah,
they didn't tax at all. But I'll look for that if I can find it real quick. I'll find it. But
yeah, yeah.
let's see. Okay, number 11 is the Netherlands, and the Netherlands, blah blah blah. They have the 17th largest economy in the world, and ooh, they charge up to 49% of taxes for people under the age of 65 on all income over 66,000 pounds.
Oh, so they're not okay. That makes sense.
Number
Interesting.
10 is Slovenia, and it's one of the smallest countries in Europe, and they impose a 50% tax on all their citizens. And let's see, it has 2.5 million citizens, and it's among the smallest countries in the European Union, but they have that 50% rate. Number 9 is Israel. The rate of innovation in the small Middle Eastern country is staggering. It's one of the rare non-European countries on the list, and it has a population of 8.8 million citizens. It has the 13th largest number of startup companies in the world, and they have the tax rate of 50%. The next one is Belgium, which I was actually surprised that they were on the list. Their tax rate is 53.7%. And they have the 15th largest trading nation in the world, and it was the first continental European country to undergo the Industrial Revolution. And the unemployment rate, though, is super, super high there. So
Oh no way.
I guess they have to make up, right? For the people that are working,
Yeah.
they have to make up all the taxes. Number
Wow.
7, which this is shocking, Aruba, and it's they tax 15 in 2022. It's going to be a 59% tax, but then they drop it to 52% in 2023. Right, but the
Interesting.
quality of life
Yeah.
living on
Okay.
that
That
island,
makes
that they have some of the most
sense.
beautiful beaches. So I don't know. I might make that I might make that sacrifice. Let's see. Number 6 is Sweden, and they are the 20th richest country in the world. They they take 50. They automatically deduct 52.9% from your annual income, and it combines income tax with social security contributions by the employers. And so but they may be taxed heavily, but the sales of residential properties are exempt from tax. So I guess if you deal in
Okay.
property, then you should be fine. Next thing, Austria is number 5, and it is one of the most developed countries in the world, and it taxes people. Let's see. Okay, income tax rate 55%, and they have a social security rate of 18%, and bonus payments are charged at 6%, and a capital gains rate at 25%, where our United States highest capital gains rate is 20%. It's the 12th richest country in the world, and yeah, it's the 12th richest country because they're taking, you only get to keep 45% of what you make. So for every $100 you make, they get 55 and you get 45. Right.
Wow. So do you think, or maybe do you know if they are getting paid pretty well out there, with their jobs and
Even if they
stuff?
are getting paid well, I don't really think so a lot of times I find that we are one of the countries that live in excess, right? So other countries don't necessarily live in excess. So for what we would find to be a great salary, may be
Yeah.
excessive to somebody else, right? Like maybe you can live a perfectly, happy, bill free life off of the 45% that you keep. Here, no way. Here we live
Yeah.
150% above our means.
No, for sure. A
That's
hundred
just what it is.
percent.
But like I personally, I wouldn't want to pay 55% of my income to anybody for nothing. I don't even want to save 50% of my income.
I know, seriously though.
So,
Little give it
right,
away.
exactly. All right, so then let's see. Number 4 is Denmark, and you have to pay 55.9% of your income to the government. Japan is number 3, and they're the third largest nation in the economy after, so it's the United States, China, and then Japan as far as GDP is concerned. They charge they tax at 55.97%, right?
Wow.
Then the next one, number 2, is Finland, and they charge 56.95%, and it also has a very high capital gains rate. It didn't say what it was. You want to know what the number 1 country is? People living in the Ivory Coast. They pay 60% of their income to the government. It's a West African country, and it has the highest income tax in the world. It is, I don't know what the trade-off is. I've never been to the Ivory Coast, but I know this. If I made $100, I definitely don't want to pay $60 to anybody.
No,
Right?
not at all.
As I said, I don't even want to save 50%, much less pay 60% to somebody else. And then, then you have to get into the details. Is this money that's being paid in taxes, is it going to fix infrastructure? Is it going to Social Security or Medicare? If it's not, I probably would not want to do it.
Definitely. So the United States, as much as like we were talking about the beginning of this with the whole political talk about it, everyone kind of has, a complaint. No one likes paying taxes. We are not anywhere near any of the top 15
No, nowhere.
Percentages
whatsoever. Our highest tax rate is 30. Our highest marginal tax rate is 37%. Your effective tax rate, that's different. That's what you actually end up paying. And so, like, just to break it down, say you have a 37% tax rate, right? Okay. So you make $100, you have a 37% tax rate. So you're paying $37 in taxes. So that leaves you with $63, right? Yeah. So it leaves you with $63. But you also get a deduction, whether it's itemized or standard deduction. So if you took the standard deduction, your 37% that you should be paying will not be based off of $100. It will be based off of $100 less whatever the standard deduction is. And then you pay taxes on that. So you're already kind of like overpaying. But,
Right.
Yeah, but people make it, I never believe percentages, right? When somebody's like, oh, this is 44% of the population. Well, of what population, right? Because people can make numbers and facts and figures say whatever they want if you use the right data set. So if I interview 10 people and 3 of them say yes and 7 of them say no, then I'll be like 70% of people say no. Yeah, but that's 10 people. So
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So okay, so we're going to talk about countries that have the highest and lowest income tax for single people. So the highest all-in average personal income tax rates for single people with no children, the top one is Germany. They tax you at 38.9%. Then Belgium, 38.4%. Lithuania, 35.8%. Denmark, 35.3%. And Slovenia, 33.7%. Then the United States comes in at 24.4% in this category. So they have the 22nd highest tax rate, but it's not the highest, right? And the countries with the lowest tax rate for people that have no children are Chile with 7%, Mexico with 10.8%, and Korea with 15%. Then, let's see, Germany, they have a progressive tax rate that means higher income individuals pay more taxes than lower income individuals. And Belgium, their top progressive tax rate is 50%. Lithuania, their top rate is 32% for people that earn over 90,000 euros. Denmark, theirs is 55.9%. And Slovenia, their individual tax rates range from 16% to 45%.
So do the euros and pesos and all that stuff, does that have any role, or is it really just what the country sets as their tax percentage, and then like you said is going to go towards like infrastructure and roads and maybe social security and all that stuff?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have any effect on the type of currency. So whether you call it pesos or whether you call it euros or whether you call it the pound or whatever, because how it applies in your country is how it matters, right? So yeah, it may
Right.
be I'm just guessing, 1 peso to, or $1 to 100 pesos. We're just guessing that. They're not going to base their taxation based off of the $1. They're going to base it off of, if this thing costs 100 pesos, it's 100 pesos. That's it, not $1.
Mm-hmm.
So like, while we, you know, we kind of change everything to US dollars in our mind because that's like the standard. Like, we only do that because we're here. Right. Other people that's never been here, I don't think that they necessarily do that unless they're in a business that, utilizes a lot of American dollars.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So then we're going to go to the countries with the highest and lowest income rates for married people. So for one earner, married families with 2 children, the countries with the highest personal income taxes are different. Lithuania is first, and then Denmark is second. Lithuania is 35.8%, Denmark 31.4%. And then, so then it's the same. So they're the top 2 in the married with children and the single with no children. And then Finland and Netherlands and Norway round out that category. And then the United States comes in at 12.6% of this category, giving it the 31st highest tax rate in the world. And the countries with the lowest all-in average personal income tax rates are married single earner couples with 2 children, Czech Republic 6.5%, Chile 7%, and Switzerland with 10.7%. And yeah, no details on that. The countries with the lowest personal income tax is Chile 7%, Mexico 10.8%, Korea 15%, Estonia 15.6%, and then Switzerland 17.1%. And then the highest tax, or the highest taxes for single people: Israel, New Zealand, Spain, Japan. Yeah, Japan and Canada, because Korea was up there. All right.
And that was the highest for what? Again, I'm
The
sorry.
highest for people that have single people with no children.
Okay.
And the highest income taxes around the world are the top 11 countries. Figure this: Puerto Rico has the highest corporate taxes in the world, and that's at 37.5%. Interesting. Suriname, 36%. Chad, 35%. Chad and Equatorial Guinea at 35. Oh, Chad, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea have 35. Oh, and Iraq. Wait a minute. Okay. All of these have 35%. Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Iraq, Malta, Sudan, and Zambia. Then the next highest corporate tax rate is Brazil at 34% and Venezuela at 34%. And then the lowest ones are Barbados at 5.5%. Great. Uzbekistan at 7.5%. So these are places where you would have businesses, but I'm pretty sure there may be other things that could happen. I don't know. But okay, so Hungary at 9%, Montenegro 9%, and Vanuatu, Bermuda, Bahrain, they have no corporate tax at all.
So with Puerto Rico being number 1 in that one list, I'm assuming if they were to ever become like an official state of the United States, that would change.
Yeah. So do you think that they would ever become an official state of the United States?
I don't know. I saw down here in Denver, like the last weekend, that they were like protests. They were like advocating for that, for Puerto Rico to become a state. I don't think it would, but I was just like curious, I guess.
So if they did become a state, I do think like they may have personal income taxes, but like the history behind it is so like, I don't know, man. That is a muddied path, right? Because my understanding and is that the people of Puerto Rico were they volunteered, but I think they were volunteered to fight in, I want to say, it's the Civil War, and through that fight they would have then gained U.S. citizenship, but I don't think that the promise went off as they said it was going to go off, so therefore it's the problematicness. So that's That's the only
Good.
term that I have for that. So
Yeah.
very interesting. All right, and then just the last one, and then we kind of like yes, freestyle. The highest top 11 countries with the highest sales tax rates in trading. So Bhutan, it's a country of South Central Asia, and their sales tax rate is 50%. Then Hungary, 27%. Then the next three are tied at 25%, with Croatia, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. And then the next two are a tie, Finland and Greece. And then Iceland, Poland, and Portugal have a 23% rate. And the highest tax rates are, we said Bhutan, okay, yeah. And that's it. That's just kind of like a survey of tax around the world. So we don't have the highest rate
Wow.
on anything.
Oh, we don't. We really don't. We don't even like come close to those that 50, 60% in either of those categories. Like you said, we're at what,
We're in the
30?
24. One is 24.4%, and one is like 15%. So we're the 31st in. We are the 31st highest tax rate for married people, and we are the 22nd highest tax rate for single people.
Yeah, see, that's like
It's
nothing.
nothing, right? But, talking points, right? So everything is a political talking point. So, like, even just finding these numbers, that's why I feel like these are kind of important, just so, like, these are the numbers, right? And so, like, there's no agenda here to make you feel or think anything that I feel or think. It's just more so here's the information.
Yes, exactly. Do what you want with it. Do your further research if you'd like. But these are the numbers, and according to the numbers, we are doing okay. But like you said, we also live above our means as Americans. If we didn't, would we have more of that quality of life? Like a lot of these other countries that do have maybe high tax rates, but better.
So that's such a good question, right? I feel like it's a value. It's a value system, right? Because
Mhm.
in places like what was it? It was one of the islands. Was it Bermuda? No, it was Aruba, right? You walk outside of your house onto white sand beaches, and you could see at the bottom of the ocean. I'll probably pay for that,
Right, right.
right?
For sure.
So and
Right.
you may not live in because I watch like House Hunters and all that. We are the only place that have the walk-in closets the way that we have them, that have the bathrooms the way that we have them. And believe you me, I love a good walk-in closet and a bathroom that is like I want 40 jets coming at me, right? I'm part of the problem.
Right.
But like you can't even get that kind of stuff in some places. You have to like specially fly these things in. So what we are used to is we're used to everything right now at our fingertips. And even like
Yeah.
what's going on with the supply chain issue, and like you go into Target and you see some things that you if you had gone 2 days ago would have been there, and now it's gone for like a week, and you're like super mad about it, right? Because we're used to having everything right now. And so
Yep.
I feel like if we got rid of that, and we got, because that's part of our excess. I don't know how people
Mhm.
would act, right? Because people don't know how to act now with having the options of having everything. So how would we deal with like not being able to take a hot shower every day, or not being able to buy what you want when you want it, not being able to go to Target, Walmart, and the mall? Some places
Right.
don't even have like big malls. Like, I'm not even talking about like some people like I'm not even talking about like there's small towns that have like the Walmart or the Target. That no, no, no. Some
Right.
places don't even have like that. Like, there's a store
Yeah.
and it has the stuff, and when it doesn't have the stuff, there's nothing.
Right. Yeah. It definitely comes down to like what makes that individual happy.
Exactly.
Like as at least for personally speaking, younger, yeah, it was like the big house and the nice things. But now it's like I feel like that's so stressful, and I would rather have white sand when I walk out of my house. And I don't care if my home is a lot smaller, maybe the size of the current walk-in closet that I have right
Right.
now. But some people don't think that as well. I could say a lot of Americans don't
I,
feel that way
I would
either.
say that. And a lot of people, want to show that they're living this amazing life, and it's for show, and it's not even, I don't even want to call it, it's not even keeping up with the Joneses anymore. Like, this is something totally different. So people will literally go bankrupt so that they can show you that they are doing something, right? And so I just feel like it's a value thing, and just having the information for the taxes maybe adds to you making that value choice. Like, you're right. As I got older, I changed things. Like, when I was younger, yeah, I wanted a big mansion, blah, blah, blah. I definitely don't want that now. Number one, I don't want any spiders in the corner. So I need it to be small enough that I can see
You're
what's
right.
going on. I would prefer a big lot, right? Because I would like to be
Right.
outside and do whatever I want to do. But I don't want like the room. I don't want to have 40 rooms. I kind of want the rooms near each other so that like you don't have this separation. Like, in my opinion, I feel like a 20-bedroom house is too much. That's my opinion. I don't, but other people, it's not. Other people, that's perfectly right, and they will never be happy without it. I feel like, just overall, money is good to get you to point A to point B, but I don't feel like your value of yourself or your life should be based off of money, if that makes sense.
Right. No, it does. But I think like with social media, that's what's pushed out in front of us all the time. That I mean, even though like social influencers will be like, I'm not happy all the time. This is just social media. What you're portraying is that what you have, those big homes, the cars, traveling, is what makes you happy. And so us as viewers see that and we're like, that's what's going to make me happy until, most times you get to that point and that's just not the
Not.
case.
It can never. It will never. It's just. It's a means to an end, right? And I mean, not having money, I guess you're less happy. You're more unhappy. Even if you're unhappy with money, I'm pretty sure if you didn't have any money, you'd be more unhappy. But like, even with these influencers and famous people and whatever, I've just learned that like money cannot make you happy, no matter what people tell you. I look at like all these famous and rich people who are like severely depressed, whether it's something that
Yeah.
is genetic or just because you can't trust. Because the thing is when you get to a certain point in life, you don't know who's around you for you and who's around you for whatever it is. And that feeling has got to be the most unnerving feeling ever, to not know if this person that you are trusting is somebody that's going to stab you in the back.
Yep. 100%. Definitely lonely.
Definitely. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I just know that money does not bring you happiness.
For sure. And we don't have the highest tax rate.
And we don't have the highest tax rate in the world ever on anything. We don't have the highest personal income tax rate. We don't have the highest corporate tax rate. We don't have the highest sales tax rate. We don't have the highest tax rate for single people. And we don't have the highest tax rate for married people with children.
Right, exactly. Every country pays taxes.
Yes.
Some are different rates. I guess just we have to learn to be happy with what we got.
I agree. And paying taxes, it like, while I know people hate it, like, that's why the roads that you drive on don't have potholes in it.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. So, well, that was awesome. That was really cool and exciting to learn. I'm sure it was an eye opener for a lot of our viewers to kind of see where each country stands and honestly even learn about other countries they probably never
Exactly.
heard of.
Look them up. That's why because I had to look some of them up. I was like, well, where is this? And I want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's nice to know what's going on. Like, we are not in this world by ourselves.
Yes, exactly. That is a great point. I think a lot of times we get so involved in even our own little worlds that we forget that there's so many other stuff going on outside of our state, our county, the United States, our country. So, again, that was super
Hey,
insightful.
good. All right. Well,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Dion, and thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Tax Thursday. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms and that you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any future Tax Thursday episodes. Until next time, we will see you next Thursday for a brand new episode and topic. Thank
bye.
you,
Have a
Dion.
great day.